All right, everybody, welcome back to Beans No Ball. The Super Bowl has come and gone, and Christian definitely, I think we can easily say this was definitely one of the all-time greats, man. Sure, it
It
started out
was.
like what? We were comparing it to when the Rams and the Patriots went out for a snooze fest in Atlanta, but that second half definitely woke us up. So, hey, Christian, let's just start our final recap of the season.
Yeah, honestly, this really the whole beginning of the game. It was really just a defensive battle, man. I mean, that first drive with San Francisco, it was looking really well. Purdy looked like he was getting in his groove here, targeting his main guys good, and getting McCaffrey early in the run game. That's what Shanahan is really always trying to do in the beginning of the game, just get McCaffrey going, because that's basically the game plan for the first half of the game, just get McCaffrey going. But we see with Shanahan, with the last past Super Bowls he's coached in, he can make adjustments, which I will get into a little bit later. But McCaffrey going, it was looking really well. And then obviously the fumble in the beginning of that drive when they already got into Chiefs territory, that really costed them. And then the Chiefs offense, they really couldn't do anything. They were just trading three and outs at that point, pretty much just up to the kickers. And then coming in halftime, Niners are up 10 points, so it's looking really good for this Niners team. But in my mind, I'm thinking like, Mahomes has been down before in the long run, and in the Super Bowl, down 10 points. I mean, can't count him out just yet. In the second half, that's where everything started to fall
That's
off for
when
this
Mahomes
49ers
woke
team.
up. I didn't see the
Yeah,
exact stat, but what do you have, like two something in the
yeah,
second
like
half
two
after
something
almost
yards.
nothing?
Yeah, because he finished the game with 330 something, 300 something yards. I
Yeah, I
mean,
think it was
just
like
that
that.
second half, that second half alone, he threw for 200. He's finally getting his groove, and then Travis Kelce too. I mean, we saw his little shenanigans he pulled against Andy Reid on the sideline in that play in the first half where he wasn't in with Pacheco fumbled. Sure, I mean, yeah, you would want your best tight end there for all the blocking you can need, but I mean, you can't really guarantee the play's gonna be a fumble. So I would understand Kelsey's frustration, but can't. Yeah, I think it's just childish. You can't go under a
Yeah,
coach like that.
easily. And I know,
Yeah.
people are honestly, blowing other reasons for that out of proportion. But regardless, yeah, I'm honestly, Kelsey is definitely in the wrong in that situation. Hey, we're probably hearing a whole different story if they would have lost this game. But
Yeah.
regardless, just you put it perfectly. Really childish by him. And just in that situation too. You get the frustrations are flowing. The Chiefs offense was getting nothing, and that was the one drive in the first half
Mhm.
that they were driving. They were primed to finally do something. Pacheco, obviously, once he fumbles, that kills all their momentum. And obviously, for probably that whole half, sure they got that field goal, but that really killed their momentum in the drive. And going back a little further back, Dre Greenlaw, man. I hate on him as much as anyone for being a dirty player and everything. But it's heartbreaking to see. Not only a non-contact injury, but bro was just jumping out to come back onto
Yeah.
the field for the next drive. And I don't think there's been anything official just yet. But I think we can all tell. We saw that
It was
pop
his
in the back of his
Achilles.
leg. It's an
Yeah.
Achilles tear.
There's,
We
they probably
know
covered it's gonna be an Achilles tear. So
it's 99% confirmed it's an Achilles tear. It's heartbreaking to see. Who knows if he's even going to be able to come back for next season, even if it is the tail end of the year. But I mean, just really get into the struggles for the Niners. No, it looked like they were cooking in the first half. Hey, even Juwan Jennings being the one who actually, I don't know, maybe showing up Brock Purdy in the big stage. But look,
I mean,
apart
it happens. I mean, John Jennings just becomes the best player, on the field, for just
arguably
that one
would have been
random ass
Super Bowl
drive. Yeah.
MVP, threw it for a
Yeah.
touchdown, caught for a touchdown. But hey, apart from Jennings and McCaffrey obviously doing his thing after the fumble, there was really nothing else going on for the San Fran offense. Kittle, what he get held to 2 catches and 4 yards, and I
Yeah.
think
He
I
had four
remember
yards the whole
Ayuk.
game.
Ayuk had like one good catch in the first half. I really didn't see nothing out of him.
And the thing to
Debo,
look into them more too, the thing to look more into them, the receiving end for the Niners. I mean, their leading receiver was McCaffrey for 80 yards. I believe it was 80 yards. The next player I think was like 50 something. I think it was Debo, if I'm not mistaken. But there really was no pass game for that 49ers team. Looking at Brock Purdy and coming back to the narrative where he succeeds because of his weapons. Really wasn't helping out, especially in the second half.
yeah, so
Nothing
Ayuk
was
had
really
50.
going.
I thought he had a lot less. Debo was the one who had even lower numbers. But
Oh, okay.
regardless,
So, yeah.
that's what I'm telling you. We're looking
Yeah.
at, you know, our whole narrative going into this game was, hey, one of the places that the Niners, that the Niners really have an advantage is that receiving core. But obviously, we looked at the fact that the the Chiefs, they've kind of had this resurgence ever since the playoffs started, and obviously that kept showing here. I mentioned a lot how that secondary was going to be a big factor for the Chiefs. I was giving them the upper hand, and this was showing why. I mean, apart from
McDuffie and
pretty scary sell job by Snead and near, I believe it was the third quarter, something like that. It was McDuffie. I swear it was Snead that sold
the third quarter.
play.
The play in the end zone where he got the PBU that could have been the touchdown in the second half.
Yeah, McDuffie. I know he made that play. I'm talking about when I forgot what play, but Snead sold on some play down the line. But
it was the holding call. The holding call in the
there we go. Yeah. But no, I mean, if we're gonna look at McDuffie, I mean, he probably kept them in the game after that. It was the one coming out of 2-minute warning, that pressure on Purdy to that. I mean, I believe it would have been an easy catch for Jennings if not for that pressure on. I believe he got his hand on it, but I mean, defensively he was the difference because of that, and like you said, the PBU. But I mean, going back to the Chiefs, man. I mean, actually, I'm just gonna go big picture here. We were showing our comparisons on I was pretty hyped up on how I was kind of. My prediction was kind of going perfectly. I called the Jake Moody field goal to start. I called him going up 10-0, and I called Valdez-Scantling getting that touchdown to get the Chiefs going. So I mean, it was looking good all up until that Moody block kick, which if we're gonna look at it, that was the difference of the game. Because if not, the Chiefs would have had to go for the touchdown at the end of the game,
and they gave Mahomes 153. Yeah, honestly, the way they gave Mahomes a minute 53 to go left, and really, like you said, that PT was a big difference. I was arguing with one of my friends. He was all saying like Mahomes is not gonna do anything in a minute 53. I'm like, all right, clearly that just dead giveaway. You don't know ball right there. I mean,
13 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, he managed to lead a game-winning drive in 13 seconds. He's got like 80% more, like a minute 53. I mean, come on now. And look, they were driving, a lot of big plays were going on. I mean, like you said, if Jake Moody did get the PAT, they probably would have got that touchdown. I mean, let's be a little bit realistic here. With all the time Mahomes got, just a little bump down, Rashid Rice pretty much dead all game, I was praising my boy.
Going to Rashid Rice. That play was in 9 seconds left. He went to Kelsey. Yeah. That was the play drawn up. Rashid Rice wide open right in the middle. So I mean, obviously I know he wasn't going to be looking his way regardless. He was kind of an afterthought of the play, but looking at Rashid Rice could have won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I mean I'm not really upset about that, because Rashid Rice, he ran the route to the outside and he was open for a solid good 2 seconds on the right outside, but Mahomes was pressured and he really couldn't get the ball on time. I think it's just 1 second, Rashid Rice, that honestly would have been the game right there. But obviously 1 to 2 seconds, it really matters in this game, man. Really, what I really want to get more into is not only just the Chiefs comeback leading the game into overtime. I want to know the adjustments, going back to now, Shanahan's adjustments at halftime. I mean, their game plan, it's McCaffrey, man. Get McCaffrey going. The pass game is going to be so simple for Brock Purdy. They abandoned the run game with McCaffrey, the second half, they're getting
and that's something we were talking about
too. The Chiefs D was getting to them.
It looked like the Chiefs D just couldn't do anything against McCaffrey, and I mean, that's something we were saying. They kind of got away from him, so it didn't really make sense what the game. It's very similar to what happened with the Ravens in the AFC Championship.
Yeah, they just completely abandoned the run game, and when you have arguably the best running back in the league, and just completely abandon the run game.
He is.
Yeah, arguably is the best running back in the league. You can't just abandon him like that. I mean, we saw in the first half, like they couldn't stop him on the run. They couldn't stop him at all. It was just that fumble that kind of brought it down a little bit. But the run game for the Niners first half, it was going very smoothly. And then trying to transition to the pass attack with Brock Purdy the second half, it just really wasn't working. I know a lot of Brock Purdy haters out there. They're probably a little happy there that, their narrative's still standing. I mean, he can't do shit when he's passing. And when you bring up Lamar Jackson in the passing game at school in the conference championship, Lamar, he really sold in the pass game as well. Him and Purdy are just prime examples right there.
I mean, I'm not going to put this too much on Purdy. I mean,
no, without a doubt. He did make some big plays. He did make some big plays. I'm not going to disregard that. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, I honestly told you, I mean, this was my big narrative. I thought, the moment was going to get to him. He was probably going to struggle after a big lead, which, if we're being honest, it kind of did. But, I mean, he didn't look flustered. He didn't look like he didn't belong in the Super Bowl. Like, we see some situations, like we see Jared Goff in Super Bowl 53, situations like that. Brock Purdy looked like he belonged. And look, I'm not saying that this game, shuts up all the narratives. Like, that's also definitely not the case. He didn't look like an elite quarterback in this game. He hasn't looked like an elite quarterback even in the playoffs. But this does put up a narrative like, he's arguably a top 10 quarterback in my eyes looking at this playoff run.
Yeah, I mean, obviously coming up from Mr. Irrelevant, what he was able to do this whole time. I mean, sure, yeah. There's a lot of big plays he did sell in the Super Bowl, but I mean, looking at the first half and even the second half, he was making some plays for the most part that kind of kept the drives extending. Obviously, it just, it was just play calling, the scheming that really wasn't getting their way. The Chiefs defense was really just getting the upper hand here. And we even saw that in overtime here, The drive was going very smoothly. Obviously, the holding call on
No, and actually, before we even get into the actual play in overtime, let's get started with the 49ers decision to give the ball, to take the ball. We know the rule change, and I mean, guys, was it Juszczyk and Armstead, I think, were big on, we didn't even know the rule change.
Yeah, this morning, they brought out this morning that Shanahan and a couple of the guys, they were not aware of the rule change. And I mean, if I'm aware, I would assume the teams will go over the overtime rules.
It's been it's been 2 years since they changed that rule, right?
Yeah, they changed it. I think it was 1 or 2 because of the.
It was after.
Was it the divisional or it was
after the
Bills? Allen and Mahomes. It was Allen and Mahomes. Was it the conference or the divisional?
The division.
Yeah. They changed it after that. They changed the rules after that both teams would get the opportunity with the ball. But I honestly don't understand it for it being 2 years. How?
Look, I mean, at the end of the day, like. Look, it's whatever the situation. I mean, if you think you want to take the ball and let your defense win the game, by all means, that could be your strategy. But in this situation, I mean, everyone was talking about it. You want to let them get on the field. You want to see if you need to go down and get a touchdown that they just got, or if they only got a field goal. Now okay, I could get a field goal. I don't have to go for it on 4th down. And that's what I believe it was Phil Simms that kept talking about it. You don't give Patrick Mahomes 4 downs and know that he can get 4 downs in that situation, which I mean, it's just it was just a bonehead move, and it shows, Kyle Shanahan. I mean, there's so much that he's a fraud. He's not beating the choker narratives. It's been it's Super Bowl 51, the
10-point lead. Oh, the 28 first, then the 10-point lead against the Chiefs.
The 2021 NFC Championship. I believe he was up 17-7. Obviously, Super Bowl 54, and now Super Bowl 58. I mean, it just follows him wherever he goes. I mean, will he ever shed that narrative? I mean, we'll still wait and see. There's many things that we could still say. I mean, sure, next year, I know we still have Brock Purdy under that contract, but once Brock Purdy needs to get paid, we know they're already paying a bunch of other guys. They're gonna end up at cap hell, and this was probably their best shot right now.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna start a whole other narrative saying that, like, is it time for the Niners to move on for Shanahan? Absolutely not. I don't think it's time to move on for him, without a doubt. Like, he is still a very good coach.
Well, he makes Brock Purdy look elite, man. Why would they?
I mean, in this big moments, look, he's got the Niners to the Super Bowl twice in the last. Twice in the last, I want to say 5 years.
Like 4 NFC
4 or 5 years. Yeah, he's gotten to the Super Bowl twice. The past couple years, he's gotten to the championship a couple of times. It was just the cards he was dealt with, and his just decision making in the big time games. I mean, the coach is there, right? Really, it's just the adjustments that he cannot make in these big time games.
It's those adjustments, his clock management. Yeah. There's flaws. I mean,
there's flaws, but they're not too big flaws that really to get him fired, right? Firing would just be way out of the picture. That's why I don't want to start. But for him working with Brock Purdy, the last pick, and showing what he's done, what he's able to do with the weapons of the whole team, Shanahan's gonna remain the coach. Let's just get out the way. It's just what he's gonna do to fix his flaws, the management, like you said, the adjustments and everything that he can do. And the Super Bowl being up to 10 points, and then the decision making towards the end of the game, that's where they're gonna stump you. And I won't know about that stuff.
I mean, yeah, obviously, I know you obviously very well versed in that. Obviously, McCarthy, even Jason Garrett, but I mean, look, I just don't. Yeah, of course, but I mean, that's the thing. I don't think it was ever put into question whether he was going to remain or not. But I mean, the main thing is, I mean, look, I mean, how long is he going to get? There's, I mean, a couple. It's going to be, the Niners are going to get tired of coming second in the conference. I think after losing the Super Bowl, he's on a clock, and I think maybe he's gonna get 2 more years if he can't win a Super Bowl. Maybe even once Brock's contract runs out, maybe we start seeing conversations of maybe questions for Kyle Shanahan.
2 years is probably the safer route, but a lot of people now are talking about Purdy's extension. I mean, what, he's coming into his third year, 2 years does seem, very, very reasonable. Whether they're gonna sign him to a big extension or pick up his fifth year option.
Well, he isn't eligible until next year, but that's the thing. Like, they have this grace period. They have 1 year. Like, okay, this next season, it's the year. You have to win it next year. If not,
and then it's gonna be decided who to pick. Because look, not only Brock, you're not even Brock's contract, but whether like right now, whether they want to extend Shanahan, and then you got guys like Debo, Ayuk. Let me throw in John Jenkins in there, McCaffrey, Kittle, guys on defense too. Ward and everything, Reed as well.
Yeah, they just brought in a couple big names too.
I mean, you have a lot of names you gotta pay
for Chase Young.
Yeah, Chase Young, and how did I forget Nick Bosa, and then back on the offense, Trent Williams.
Oh, well, Nick Bosa already got his bag, so.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Bosa's chilling, but I mean, cap space wise, I would assume they would want to, make some ways to restructure his contract a bit, save some cap, save some money. But with all those star players you have there, I mean, this Niners team, they've been dominant these past couple years. They had the players. They obviously just weren't able to capitalize in the big games. And, coming to this year's with Purdy's extension, that's really a lot of things that the decision making that John Lynch and this front office, they really got to really put into it, what they're going to do with the future of this team. Yeah.
And I mean, transitioning over to, the actual champions, man. I mean, let's also look, it's a dynasty cemented for the Chiefs. I mean, what's it, 3 Super Bowls in 5 years, I believe, or something like that. And obviously, there was the talk, what Andy Reid hanging up regardless of what happens, with Travis Kelce, is he going to have any, obviously all that out the window. Obviously right in the moment, Travis Kelce said he wants that 3-peat. And honestly, I don't think it's going to be, there's much question if they can do it. And we also look at Andy Reid. I believe this morning he just confirmed he wants that 3-peat. So I mean, it turns into chasing that Patriots dynasty. And honestly, the way is like, I don't really see anyone that's really that main challenger to go against the next season. We're just gonna look at it right now. I think they're gonna be in New Orleans next year, man.
Honestly, it's not really, obviously all the memes with the logo came out, with the whole Chiefs again and the Seahawks and the color scheme, jokes that are there. But honestly, this Chiefs team, a lot of people counted them out early in the offseason. I had some things right there counting them out. And then obviously looking in retrospect, Mahomes, you just can't count him out at all on what he was able to do, close out the remaining of the season. And looking into this playoffs team, I mean, beating the number 1 defense of the Baltimore Ravens and then coming to the Super Bowl and coming back once again from a deficit. I mean, Mahomes, he's the closest we're going to get to another Brady. Now, the potential for him to catch up to Brady, I mean, I'm not going to say it's,
it's hard because he lost too much.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to say that because we've never seen anyone like Brady. Mahomes is really the closest we've ever seen to a GOAT like Brady. And, I'm not going to say it's impossible for Mahomes to catch Mahomes. There's a possibility, but it's very, very slim.
Yeah, because look, the only thing that I don't like seeing with these comparisons is like, why is it only rings that he's not gonna get to 7, or even if he gets to 7, Brady beat him in the Super Bowl. Like, okay, Brady beating him in the Super Bowl, that's something that we can throw that in there. But I mean, rings. I mean, looking in basketball, I mean, are we gonna say Bill Russell is the GOAT because he had 11 rings? I mean, there's situations that I don't think the rings narrative is going to be a big thing, because just arguably, look, complete player, I can easily say Patrick Mahomes was a better complete player, just because Brady and Mahomes, maybe they're like up there similar with that arm talent. Mahomes with that mobility, man, me personally, I'm already getting near calling him the GOAT.
Yeah, honestly, I think his mobilities will kind of put him a little bit higher, in the rankings between Brady. I mean, he had the arm, he had the passer, he had everything. He just really couldn't get moving on his legs. But obviously, mobility with the quarterback, you would always love to have a mobile quarterback. Mahomes, I mean, look at the second half. He finally started using his legs, started getting active. That one read option that really extended the play.
That run in overtime, was it like that was that 20-yard run, reminiscent of last year against the Eagles?
Yeah, that overtime run too as well. Looking at that one, I mean, Mahomes, if he were to run more, it'll just be a little bit more better for that offense. We want to be realistic, because look, I know Mahomes, he's really great pocket passer. He can extend the play outside the pocket. But when he's really, running, actually rushing, that's a really underrated aspect of Mahomes that no one looks, but it's his running ability.
Yeah, and obviously, that chase is on. Dynasty cemented, and we'll just have to wait and see. Obviously, the season officially over, Christian. This concludes our second season of Beans No Ball. Obviously, probably not fully concludes. We'll still have a little recap of the season overall, but as 4 games, this is it. Obviously, appreciate you, Christian. week in, week out doing these videos. Obviously, always been a pleasure.
Of course, man.
And
Of course.
just can't wait to see what else we're gonna have in store. Obviously, we have big plans. We got a lot of conversations to have, a lot of things to help grow. I mean, hey, we hit 100 subscribers this year. Just obviously, maybe not the biggest thing, but obviously, just it's a milestone. It's a great thing for the two of us. But regardless, I mean, I don't know. You wanna give us some words to send off the season?
I mean, honestly, I think there's a lot of improvement we've had, since we did start this channel. Lots more to come. Obviously, we're not gonna have that huge break like we did last season. Obviously, we're probably thinking of getting a video for
we got some good off-season content.
Obviously, the off-season, analysis with between each team should be a pretty decently quick video, but a lot of good things to come, and we'll just see where this channel takes us in the near future once again.
Of course, man. Yeah. So hope you guys like this video. Hope you guys like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys back for a little more close out the season and some off-season content.